Yeah, good evening. Exception handling. Exception handling. Notes are given. I would explain. First of all, what is error? If you do any mistake in the programming part, that mistake is called error. How many types of errors? 3 types. What are those? Compile time errors, runtime errors, logical errors. Okay. Syntax errors are called compile time error. Exceptions are runtime error. So exception means runtime error. Only runtime errors are called exception. All runtime errors only exception. All exceptions are runtime errors only. Okay. So runtime error handling mechanism. That is only we are calling like a exception handling mechanism. Runtime error handling mechanism we are calling like a exception handling mechanism. How many types of exceptions are there? 2 types. What are those? Checked exceptions, unchecked exception. See how to differentiate checked, unchecked. I'll explain. See, all exceptions are classes in Java. All exceptions are classes in Java. See, object class is a super class. Object class is a super class. From this class, one class derived. That class name is called throwable class. From this class, one class derived. That class is called exception. Okay. From this class, many classes derived. Many classes. Interrupted exception. IO exception. SQL exception. That is many classes derived. Here, runtime exception, one more class is there. From this class, again, many classes are there. Illegal argument exception. Index out of bounds exception. Illegal argument exception, index out of bounds exception, arithmetic exception. Like this, many classes are there. From this, one more class, number format exception. Here, array index out of bounds exception. So, it is a super class for all classes. It is a super class for this exception class. Like this. First of all, this hierarchy note down. This hierarchy note down. Is it over? Last class, I given notes. See, types of exception I given, checked, unchecked. Checked exception notes you observe. First line what I given. The exception classes that are derived from java.lang.exception class are called checked exception. See, the first point you observe, the exception classes that are derived from java.lang.exception class are called checked exception. But all are derived from this class only, no? All are derived from this class only. But one more point I given, second point, you observe. Checked exceptions do not include java.lang.runtime exception class and its subclasses. So runtime exception not included in checked. That subclass is also not included. That means only this part is checked. These are checked exceptions. Okay. Next, unchecked exception category. First point, what I given, see. The exception classes that are derived from java.lang.runtime exception class are called unchecked. These all unchecked. These all unchecked exceptions. Write this one. Okay. These are checked exceptions. These are unchecked exceptions. These are checked exception. These are unchecked exceptions. See, the exception classes that are derived from exception class are called checked. But checked exceptions do not include runtime exception and its subclasses. So this part not included. The exception classes that are derived from runtime exception class are called unchecked. See, now how to differentiate checked, unchecked? Given here, if the class is derived from runtime exception class, that is unchecked. The class is derived from exception class, that is checked. But runtime exception also derived from exception, but it is not checked. Okay. Now you can see the library. Now this is only sample. See how many exceptions? 10 exceptions are given. But like this, thousands exceptions are there. It is only sample. If the class is derived from runtime exception class, that is unchecked exception. The class is derived from exception class, that is checked exception. But runtime exception also derived from exception, but not included. Now, like this you can differentiate. Next point, what I given, see, all checked exceptions must be handled by programmer explicitly. Otherwise, compile time error occurs. Actually, exception means runtime error. Runtime error must be handled. If it is not handled, check compile time error occurs. So, if your program contains these exceptions, then compulsory you have to handle. If your program contains these exceptions, not compulsory. Handling unchecked exceptions are optional by programmer. Runtime exception, next point I given. Handling unchecked exceptions are optional by programmer. It is not compulsory. Okay. What purpose we are handling unchecked exceptions? See notes. Unchecked exceptions are handled by programmer explicitly to display user-friendly error message. User-friendly error message purpose will handle. Otherwise, it is not required. Okay. Now checked, unchecked. Checked is there, compulsory write try catch block. Unchecked is there, no need to write. If you want to display user friendly error message, write. Otherwise not required. But here, whether you display user friendly error message or not, compulsory or write try catch block in checked category. Unchecked, no need to write. Okay. The compiler, next point I given, see, the compiler checks try and catch blocks or throws clause for this kind of exception. That means checked. The compiler, unchecked exception, next point. The compiler does not check try and catch blocks or throws clause for this kind of exception. So unchecked is there. Compiler will not check. That is the reason unchecked. Compiler is checking. That is the reason checked. Checked, unchecked. Last point. General exceptions comes under unchecked. Application specific exception comes under checked. Now that you will understand further. Now, in a program, last class one program I given. In that program, what are the exceptions occurred? Number format exception occurred. Array index out of bounds exception occurred. Arithmetic exception occurred. All are which type exception? Unchecked. Is it compulsory to handle? No. It is not compulsory to handle. Okay. Now, what purpose we have to handle? To display user friendly error message. Now, I'll explain with programming. Now, see, file, open. This program, you observe. This is one program. File, save. This last class only you have seen. Now, I'll open command prompt. Here, compilation Java C demo.java. So successfully compiled. If I here seeing this program, give me answer how many arguments we have to pass at the command prompt? 2 arguments, because args of 0, args of 1. 2 arguments you have to pass. If you don't pass, which exception occurs? Array index out of bounds exception. Okay. Suppose I am passing 2 arguments like this. Which exception occurs? Number format exception. Suppose I am passing 10, 0. Arithmetic exception. Suppose I am passing 10, 2. Will it execute or not? Executes. We'll get output 5. Okay. Now that means in this program 3 exceptions are there. 3 exceptions. These 3 exceptions are unchecked exceptions. That's what system handle. No need to handle. But if you want to handle, what purpose you have to handle? User friendly. Now, first of all, this program, write it. I'll give a description. Write this program. Is it over? After writing this one, you write like this. First compilation order. This compilation order. This execution order. Now only this part write it. After execution, only this part. Java.lang.array index bonds exception. So remaining will leave it, only this exception name write it. Next, like this you execute. This is write it. After writing this one order. Java.lang.number format exception. Okay. Next, write this one. After that, write this one. Java.lang.arithmetic exception. Is it over? Now, note the above all exceptions are unchecked exceptions. The above all exceptions are unchecked exceptions. The above all exceptions are unchecked exceptions. Okay. Next, these exceptions are handled by system implicitly. These exceptions are handled by system implicitly. These exceptions are handled by system implicitly. Now, if you want to display user-friendly error message, then only we have to handle. Otherwise, we can leave it. Okay. So to display user-friendly exception, programmer is going to handle. Okay. Next, write it. We can handle the above exceptions explicitly to display user-friendly error messages. We can handle the above exceptions explicitly to display user-friendly error messages. Now, myself I'll handle. You observe. I'll give examples. Example 1. Example 1. Over. Say here. Just you try. Which exception you want to handle? That exception you have tried. Suppose array index out of bounds exceptions. System dot here we have tried ERR. What is the difference between out and ERR? Just after 1-2 days you'll understand. Here out also you can write. ERR also we can write. It works. Now println here I'll write message. Suppose one simple English message. Please pass 2 arguments. Okay. Now, if array index order bounds exception is occurred, suppose one point I given that one notes you observe. Whenever exception occurs, what will be happen? I given you see last class. Whenever exception occurs in a program, whenever exception occurred in a program, then the related exception class object created by JVM passed to exception handler and exception handler code is executed. Suppose in this line exception occurs, assume, then what will be happen? Automatically object created. Can I call this is object? Yes or no? Yes. This type of object is called anonymous object. So suppose in this line exception occurred. If you don't pass arguments, in this line exception occurs. Object created. This object passed to catch block. It will receive. So then what will happen? Array index out of bounds exception AE equal to new array index out of bounds exception. Now this catch block code executed. Now this message printed. Now see, file, save. It is object reference. Whatever you want you can write. Now compilation. Index spelling mistake. Say file, save. I'll compile. See, successfully compiled. If I don't pass arguments, we got it array index out of bounds exception. Now you'll get a message. See, please pass 2 arguments. Now this simple English message, anybody can understand, no? That's what we handle. Suppose, please pass 2 arguments. 2 arguments I'm passing. These are 2 arguments only, no? Then again what will happen? Number format exception occurs. This one also I want to handle. You can write one more catch block. Catch number format exception. Here you can write another message. Please pass 2 numbers only. Now, if this exception occurs, this message comes. File, save. See, compilation, execution. See, please pass 2 arguments. Now, please pass 2 numbers only. These are numbers only, no? Then again one more exception. Automatic exception. One more message you can write. One more catch block. Arithmetic exception. system.err.println. One more message, please pass second argument except 0. See, file, save, compilation. See, please pass 2 arguments. Please pass 2 numbers only. Please pass second argument except 0. See, like this. Okay. So what purpose I handle to display user friendly error message? Otherwise not compulsory. Write this example. These are object references. Whatever you want, you can write. Which one? AE. That is only object reference. Like see, demo D equal to new demo. What did demo? What did D? Reference. Like that, array index out of bounds exception reference. This name, whatever you want, you can write. But actually, what will happen here? Array index out of bounds exception object automatically created. Just now I given. Say automatically object created. That object pass it to catch block. It will receive. This line will receive. This object who will create? JVM creates. That object received here. For receiving purpose, one reference I written. Now that is AE also you can write, only A also you can write, whatever you want you can write. Okay. Like generally I given arithmetic exception, something AE I given. Number format exception, NE I given. It is again arithmetic exception, AE I given. Whatever you want you can write. A, B, C, D also you can write. Now write this one. That is syntax I given in the last class. Catch block. After catch, what you have to write? Class name you have to write. After that, object reference. If I remove, will it work? Error comes. It should receive. Object should receive. Yeah, I'll explain. You have to wait. Not completed. I have to explain. It is example 1. Next example, that one only. Whatever you asked. Is it over? Now, here, whenever exception occurs, what will happen? First, you read that last class what I given. Whenever exception occurs, last class whatever I given, read that line. Whenever exception occurred in a program, then the related exception class object created by JVM. After that, pass it to exception handler and exception handler code is executed. That point I given. Now, if we don't pass any argument, in which line number exception occurs? Line number 1, 2, 3 numbers also are there here. If we don't pass any argument, in which line exception occurred? 6th line exception occurred. Okay. Which exception occurs? Array index out of bounds exception occurs. Then automatically object created. This type of object automatically created. This type of object is called anonymous object. This object pass it to catch block. It will receive. So then complete line what will be happen? Array index out of bounds exception AE equal to new array index out of bounds exception. Demo D equal to new demo. Like that only. But that object JVM creates, this is myself I written. Reference I am writing, object automatically coming. This reference myself I am writing, but object automatically coming. Like whenever exception occurred, then the related exception class object created by JVM. That object passed to exception handler catch block. Catch block code executed. Then this output displayed. If I don't write this catch block, class name printed. If you write like this, user friendly error message printed. Okay. Now about this one, I didn't explain, already I told, later I'll explain. That is after 1-2 days you will understand. After 1-2 days you will understand. If you write system.out also works. System.err also works. But it is error message, error you have to write. Why? You will understand after 1-2 days. That already I told. Okay. Now, what is this AE? Object reference. Is it compulsory name AE? Any name you can write. Whatever you want you can write. Okay. Now, like this. Suppose you passed arguments, but instead of numbers, you passed strings. Which exception occurs? Number format exception. Again, that is also in this line only occurs. Then what will happen? New number format exception. Like this, object created. New number format exception. Object created. This object pass it to this catch block. This will receive. Then number format exception NE equal to new number format exception. It is handled. Then this message printed. Okay. Then please pass two numbers only. Output comes. Okay. And now, suppose second argument, suppose 0 if you write. Second argument 0. Something by 0. Infinite. In which line exception occurs? 8th line. System.out.println x by y. Here exception occurs. Okay. Here exception occurs. Listen. You are not listening. See. X by y. Here exception occurs. Then which exception? Arithmetic exception. New arithmetic exception. See. New arithmetic exception occurred. This object automatically created by JVM. It is passed to this catch block. Then this message displayed. See, 3 different exceptions are written. 3 different messages are written. Okay, like this. Now, this output also not done. This complete not done. check the notes. Last class I given. Try block must be associated with at least one catch block or finally block. This point I given, no? So at least one catch block or finally block. Only try block error. Only catch block error. Is it over? Now here. Suppose here individual message I given. Individual message. For these all exceptions, one single message also possible. Okay, only one message for all. See, suppose example in ATM center, if any problem occurred, one message comes temporarily out of service. The problem may be different problems will be there, but any problem, one message only will be there, temporarily out of service. Okay, or service unavailable. This type of message only comes, no? Here also for all exception one message, that is also possible. So what we have to do, see, instead of writing like this, now these all I'll remove. Now here in this program all runtime errors are there. All unchecked exceptions are there. Okay, just now you have seen hierarchy. Unchecked exception superclass, runtime exception, something RE. Here system.err.println, one message, please pass two numbers and second number except 0. Please pass two numbers and second number except 0. Okay, now listen with more concentration. First of all, now please pass two numbers and second number except 0. I written. Now what will happen, see, suppose if we don't pass arguments, which exception occurs? Array index out of bounds exception. Then array index out of bounds exception object created. Here array index out of bounds exception catch block is not there. Not there, no? But this is passed to this catch block. Then what will be happen here? Runtime exception RE equal to new array index out of bounds exception. Now this line valid or not valid? Open the hierarchy. Just now you have seen hierarchy. In that hierarchy, which is superclass, which is subclass? Runtime exception, array index out of bounds exception. Runtime exception is a superclass. Array index out of bounds exception is a subclass. Now give me answer. This line is valid or not valid? Valid? Sure? How? What is it? Upcasting. Upcasting, no? Here. This is subclass object. This is superclass reference. Subclass object assigned to superclass reference. It is called upcasting. See, I told you already, every day comes upcasting, downcasting, I said, no? So here array index out of bounds exception handled by this catch block with upcasting feature. Then this message printed. Suppose if you pass strings, which exception occurs? Number format exception. New number format exception occurs. Okay, this object created and passed to this catch block. Is it valid or not valid? Valid. Here also upcasting, because number format exception is a subclass of runtime exception, so it can handle. It is also upcasting. So for this one also same message printed. Now arithmetic exception. arithmetic exception. Arithmetic exception also subclass of runtime exception. It is also handled. It is also handled. That means whatever you write in the catch block, that class handled, that subclass is handled. Got your mind? In a catch block, whichever class you are going to write, that class handled, that subclass is handled. But superclass is not handled. That class handled, that subclass is handled. That is upcasting feature. That's what. Now you observe file, save. If I compile and execute, say compilation, execution. Say please pass two numbers and second number except 0. Actually, which exception occurred? Array index out of function. That is handled, no? If I pass strings, which exception occurs? Handled, no? If I pass 10 0, handled, no? But all exceptions, same message coming, no? It is also possible. Example 2. Note down. Example 2. Still try block, catch block also not completed. Throws finally I didn't explain. You have to wait. System.err also I didn't explain. That is 1-2 days you have to wait. Otherwise you can write system.out. Out also works. So please pass two numbers and second number except 0. For all exception, one message are written. So in a catch block, whatever you write, that class handled, that subclass is handled. Whatever you write, that class handled, that subclass is handled. Is it over? Is it over? Now, see. Suppose try open brace, close brace, Here task code. In a try block, we'll write task code. After this, catch. Catch. Suppose if I write exception. Now you open the hierarchy. See the hierarchy. I'll ask some questions. Give me answer. Open the hierarchy. Okay. Now, will it handle IO exception? Will it handle IO exception? Yes or no? Which is superclass, which is subclass? Exception is superclass. IO exception is subclass. IO, input output, I didn't explain, that is further comes. SQL, structured query language, interpreted like a multi-threading topic related. So it will handle IO exception. Okay, because IO exception is a subclass of exception. Okay, will it handle interpreted exception? Yes or no? Yes, it will handle. Will it handle number format exception? Give me answer. 1 minute. How many people answer yes? Next. How many people answer no? Those who given no. Those who given no. Why it is no? Now what I given? It will handle that class, that subclass. Is it subclass or not? It is subclass only. Number format exception derived from which class? Runtime, illegal argument exception. Illegal argument exception derived from which class? Runtime exception. Runtime exception derived from which class? It is subclass only, no? So this catch block handles number format exception also. Will it handle arithmetic exception? Will it handle array index order exception? Will it handle illegal argument exception? Yes or no? It will handle all exceptions. Because all are derived from that class one, you know. Write this one. First one. This catch block handles all exceptions because all exceptions are subclasses of exception class. This catch block handles all exceptions because all exceptions are subclasses of exception class. All exceptions, if you write, means checked, unchecked, all. This catch block handles all exceptions because all exceptions are subclasses of exception class. Now, this catch block can handle checked exception also, unchecked exception, everything handled. Everything. This catch block handles all exceptions because all exceptions are subclasses of exception class. See, whatever you write, that class handled, that subclass is handled. But all are subclass of this class only, no? That's what all handled. But I given two categories, checked, unchecked. Checked also handled, unchecked also handled. Because unchecked also derived from checked only, exception only. Okay? Now, suppose if I write like this, now I'll ask question, give me answer. Will it handle arithmetic exception? Yes. Will it handle number format exception? Will it handle IO exception? No. Okay, because IO exception is not there in this subclass. So that means this will handle this class and this subclasses. That means it will handle only unchecked exceptions. Write this one. This catch block handles all unchecked exceptions because all unchecked exceptions are subclasses of runtime exception class. This catch block handles all unchecked exceptions because all unchecked exceptions are subclasses of runtime exception class. So this catch block handles all unchecked exceptions because all unchecked exceptions are subclasses of runtime exception class. Whatever you write, that class handled, that subclass is handled. So all unchecked exceptions are subclass of this class. That's what it can handle. Okay. Next. Third one. Suppose I'm writing here interrupted exception. I'll write. Will it handle IO exception? Will it handle? No. Will it handle SQL exception? No. What it can handle? Interrupted exception and its subclasses. It's a subclass I didn't given in the list. Okay. Like exceptions hierarchy, thousands of exceptions are there. That is only sample. That is only sample. Okay. So that means this can handle only interrupted exception class and its subclasses. Write it. This catch block handles interrupted exception class and its subclasses. This catch block handles interrupted exception class and its subclasses. So whatever you write, that class handles, that subclass handles. But how it will handle subclasses? With upcasting feature. Interrupted exception subclass are there in the list? No, not there. Upcasting always works. Everywhere upcasting works. Downcasting only 2 rules are there. What are the rules? Downcasting needs upcasting as well as explicit type conversion required. Interrupted exception. If you write interrupted exception, it will handle interrupted exception class and its subclasses. But in a hierarchy, subclass are not there in that hierarchy. If any class is there, subclass, that class also handled. Okay. Is it over? Suppose fourth one. Here IO is it over? Writing? No, IO exception I'll write. Will it handle interpret exception? No. Will it handle IO exception? Yes. This class handles, this subclass handle. Will it handle arithmetic exception? No. Will it handle number format exception? No. Write this one. This catch block handles IO exception class and its subclasses. This catch block handles IO exception class and its subclasses. This catch block handles IO exception class and its subclasses. This catch block handles IO exception class and its subclasses. Is it over? Now I'll ask one question. Give me answer. I want to handle IO exception class and interpreted exception class. What we ought to write? What we ought to write? Exception. But if I write exception, not only these two, all handle. Okay? That's what one more concept is there. Like this. Here on pipe symbol, IO exception. If I write. Now, it will not handle all. Listen. Exception handling, not is confusion comes. You two members continuously are discussing. You're not listening class. My eyes on everyone. Attending class also waste. If you do like that. See, online students, so different question, what they're asking, you ask, observe. They're not concentrating. See what they're asking? Upcasting not working. Why upcasting? Upcasting works, no? Upcasting always works. See, all exceptions handled, I said. What they asked? Checked, unchecked. Checked, all exception means checked, unchecked, no? If you concentrate, you'll understand. If you don't concentrate, this type of question comes. Listen with more concentration. Okay? See, I'm teaching all students same. But few students understanding, few students not understanding means that is depends on you also, no? I'm teaching all students same subject. Same type I'm teaching, but your listening power different, thinking power different, concentration different. That's what different type appears. Okay. Concentration also important. You are sitting in a class, you are thinking outside means no use. That's it. Wasted, no? So, listen. See, if you want to handle interpret exception and IO exception, both the exceptions if you want to handle, interpret exception and IO exception, both if you want to handle. If you write exception, what will happen? Not only these two, other exceptions also handle. That is the reason one new feature came. Now it will handle just here pipe symbol, like OR operator is, bitwise OR. That is interpret exception, pipe symbol, IO exception. Again pipe symbol, one more exception. Like that 3, 4 also you can write. Then what will be handled is interpret exception handled, IO exception handled, subclasses of interpret exception handled, subclass of IO exception handled, but other exception not handled. Now, suppose if you want to handle 2, 3 exceptions, this is better or exception better? This is better. This concept later came. Starting it was not there. Okay. Write this one. This catch block handles interrupted exception, comma, IO exception, comma, subclasses of interrupted exception, and subclasses of IO exception. Right, this one? So one object reference only can handle. Two at a time will not come, no? One only comes. Whenever exception occurs, stop it. See, if I repeat also 3-4 times also, people are not understanding. But if you don't concentrate, how can you understand? If I repeat also, some people are not understanding. You have to listen with more concentration. Core Java, if you are perfect, further many courses, you can learn yourself also. It is possible. Because Core Java prerequisite for many courses. And with this knowledge, remaining all becomes easy. But Core Java, you cannot learn yourself. If you learn Core Java yourself, you may understand 50% subject, or you may understand wrong also. That will be happen. But Advanced Java, Duzal, if you have a patience, you can learn yourself also. It is nothing. But it takes more time. Without tutor, if you learn, it takes more time. With tutor, if you learn, very quickly you learn. That's the difference. See, this catch block handles interpret exception, IO exception, subclasses of interpret exception, and subclass of IO exception. This concept is called multiple exceptions with single catch block. You have seen multiple catch blocks, you have seen. But here, multiple exceptions, not all. Multiple exception with single catch block. So, note on. Handling multiple exceptions with single catch block concept introduced in JDK 1.7 version in 2011. Handling multiple exceptions with single catch block concept introduced in JDK 1.7 version in 2011. Handling multiple exceptions with single catch block concept introduced in JDK 1.7 version in 2011. So this concept came in 2011. Previously it was not there. 1.7 version it is came. Okay. Now, actually further what we have to do is whether exception is there or not. How to find out? See here. Suppose in this program, what are the library methods we are accessing? Which one? Library methods only I am asking. Methods. In this program, library methods. ParseInt is a library method. Okay, next. Println also library method. Okay. ParseInt is a predefined method. Println also predefined method. These two library methods. ParseInt method in which class? Integer class. Now, how to see the profile of integer class? Java P java.lang.integer. Now, here parseInt method I'll show you. You observe. Now, this is parseInt method. This is. Now, I'll ask some questions. Give me answer. Is it accessible? How do you know? Public. So, seeing that public keyword, you are giving answer. It is accessible. Okay. Is it instance method or class method? How do you know? Seeing that static keyword, you are giving answer. It is in class method. It is return. What is the return type? Is there? Integer. This is integer. How many parameters are there? One parameter. Which type? String type. Seeing this one, you are giving parameter. Seeing this one, you are giving return type. This is method name. Like that only. Will it throw exception? Yes, because there is a throws keyword. Which exception? Number format exception. So you can give answer. Suppose. Now I'll ask question. Give me answer. Suppose. Now this is a method. Is this method accessible? How do you know? Public. Is it instance method or class method? Instance method. How do you know? There is no static. What is the return type of this one? Int. How many parameters? No parameter. Will it throw exception? No, there is no exception. So throws keyword is there. You can understand there is an exception. Throws keyword is not there. Then you can understand there is no exception. Okay. Now, suppose here, this is a method. In this method, what is the method name? Resolve constant describe. Okay. Now, is it accessible? Yes. How do you know? Public. Is it instance method or class method? Instance method. How do you know? Because there is no static. Okay. What is the return type? Return type. Object is return type. Not only integer, character, float. Reference type also will be there, no? Already studied. Return type can be primitive data type or reference data type. That is object class return type. Okay. Now, here. How many parameters are there? One only. One only. It is package name. It is sub package name. It is sub package name. It is class name. But here dollar symbol is there, no? Inner class. It is one more inner class. That is I given while compiling. Dollar symbol came, no? So method handles. That is class name. Dollar lookup. Inner class name. Now, will it throw exception? Yes. Which exception? Java.lang.reflective operation exception. So like this, you can identify whether exception is there or not. You can identify. Now here there is an exception. But now, is it checked or unchecked? In that hierarchy, not there. That is only sample. In that hierarchy, not there, no? But when it is checked, when it is called unchecked, if this class is derived from exception class, that is called checked. If the class is derived from runtime exception class, that is called, but whether it is derived from exception or runtime exception, how to check? By using Java P command. Java P, java.lang.reflective operation exception. Now, reflective operation extends, what is there? Exception. That means checked or unchecked? It is checked. Is it compulsory to write try catch blocks? All checked exception must be handled by programmer explicitly. Otherwise, compile time error occurs. That means this is checked. We must write try catch. Like that. It is not completed. Tomorrow I will continue. Not completed. Okay. Tomorrow I will continue. So it is not completed. Even if you have a doubts also, tomorrow I'll clarify. Okay, tomorrow I'll clarify your doubts. We'll see continuation tomorrow.